Hi, welcome to Loft 801. My name is Diego, and today I'm talking about Martin Scorsese's latest film released last year on October 20th, 2023, Killers of the Flower Moon. Killers of the Flower Moon is a drama crime movie based on the true story of Ernest Burkhart and the murder of the Osage Native Americans. The story takes place in the 1920s and involves America's favorite currency, oil, and the FBI. Now, before I hop into my review, if you want to support the channel, then please take a second to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. It is super duper appreciated. Thank you. As a warning, this review will contain some heavy spoilers, so continue at your own risk. Lastly, if there's anything that you want to see reviewed, don't forget to let me know by leaving a comment down below and I will get to it slowly but surely. Thank you. I'm hopping in 3, 2, 1. All right, let's give a little more context on the plot because that is the whole point of this movie, shedding light on the plight of the Osage Nation. If you don't want a history lesson, skip ahead, or don't watch this movie. For starters, the Osage, people of the Middle Waters, are a Midwestern American tribe of the Great Plains. They originally lived in the land between the Ohio and Mississippi rivers, but in the 19th century, the US government forced them into Indian Territory, where they reside today, present-day Oklahoma. In the early 1900s, large, and I mean large quantities of oil were discovered on their relocated land. This made the Osage very, very, very wealthy. Unfortunately, the notorious B.I.G. summed it up best when he said, "Mo money, mo problems." Their newfound excess wealth attracted the attention of the US government, and Osage members were forced into what Britney Spears is very familiar with, a conservatorship program. That word is so hard to pronounce. With white men dispersing money to the Osage, there was obvious incentive for corruption. Dubbed the Reign of Terror, the Osage were legally manipulated, cheated, and murdered by many white men seeking to take their wealth. The Osage had no real methods to fight back, and in many ways, it was like stealing candy from a baby. With over 60 Osage members killed for their wealth, they requested help from the FBI. This was the FBI's first ever murder case. So that is the context surrounding the plot of the movie. However, the plot itself follows the life of Ernest Burkhart, and if you want to know the real spoilers of this movie, go watch it yourself. I promise it is enjoyable. Well, it's impactful. Seeing the way the Osage people were treated and manipulated on screen irritated me. I love history and I hate it at the same time because so many unjust things have happened, for the love of money is the root of all evil. 1 Timothy 6:10. In terms of theme and plot, this movie did exactly what it set out to do. It made me come home, sit my butt down, and research who are the Osage people and what happened to them. So, Scorsese, in those aspects, you get 5 stars from me. Let's take a look at the main characters because I enjoyed the cast. Leonardo DiCaprio plays the main guy in this movie, Ernest Burkhart, and I simultaneously loved and hated his performance. To be fair, I hated the performance for all the right reasons. DiCaprio is so good at playing a sleazeball, and unfortunately, Burkhart is not a charming devil like Jordan Belfort. Ernest Burkhart is a coward, a thief, and a man of little integrity. He is easily manipulated by his uncle, William Hale, and I hated the way he treated his wife, Molly, which, speaking of Molly, Lily Gladstone played her very well. Molly Burkhart is a full-blooded member of the Osage tribe with rights to some substantial wealth. She is largely a calm yet powerful voice of reason throughout the movie. Despite being a movie centered around Leo's Ernest, Lily Gladstone is the star of this movie. She is the one who brings everything together and holds all the pieces in place. She is stunning and shines above the rest of the cast, and I feel confident saying she will win an Oscar just like the Golden Globe. The other main character, William Hale, played by Robert De Niro, is despicable. I thought I hated Ernest, but I hated Hale. Pretending to be a white knight and a friend of the Osage, he is truly the devil. De Niro does a great job, but like Leo, there was just something missing. In many of his movies, he commands the screen, but in this one, things were a little lackluster. But speaking of commanding the screen, let's talk about Brendan Fraser. Oh my god, he's only in the movie for like 2 minutes, but does he serve? He definitely delivered my favorite performance. He was very imposing and frankly a little scary. Some other cast members I thought had excellent performances were Jesse Plemons, Pete Yorn, Cara Jade Myers, Ty Mitchell, Tatanka Means, and Louis Cancel Me. What an unfortunate last name. With my favorite aspects of the movie out of the way, let's talk about things I enjoyed but thought could use some improvement. It's a bit hard for me to put into words, but this movie didn't quite have the Native American touch that I thought it would. While there was definitely Native American involvement in producing this movie, I wish it would have played a much larger role, especially during the beginning of the movie. I feel like there were many opportunities to showcase the Osage people and their culture, but these opportunities weren't always utilized. I'm just spitballing here, and it might be out of place place, but I wish I would have seen more of the Native American mythology, kind of how like in the Northman, there was a lot of Norse mythology in dream sequences. It's so unique, and I think it could have helped with the pacing. I think a big part of my complaint is probably the direction and pace that Scorsese took with this movie. While I greatly enjoyed the story, I would have loved to see it played out a little bit more from the eyes of a Native American like Molly Burkhart. Or maybe the story could have been a bit more of a mystery and followed Agent John Wren as he investigated the murders. I think this would have made my emotional investment much stronger. The movie ran for 3.5 hours, which I'm mostly fine with, but I wish it would have had a little bit more suspense to keep me on the edge of my seat. To be clear, I don't take any issue with the runtime. I love lengthy movies if they keep me engaged all the way through. I hate to make the comparison, but Killers of the Flower Moon did not do for me what Oppenheimer did. From start to finish, Oppenheimer had me glued to the screen because I found it engaging and suspenseful, but Killers almost seemed to drag out. Again, personally, I think it's because the movie didn't have enough suspense or mystery. Everything is kind of laid out in front of you in a very matter-of-fact way. It almost feels like a documentary. In terms of my interest in this movie, it started out very high, but then slowly started dropping down, and then about halfway into the movie it came back up. Unfortunately, my interest began to wane and I felt a bit let down by the conclusion. I didn't get the emotional payoff that I was hoping for. Don't get me wrong, the ending was interesting, it just didn't scratch my itch. On another slightly negative note, there wasn't anything about the cinematography that impressed me. It all felt very plain and simple. That isn't necessarily a bad thing because the movie shines in some of its personal and simple moments, but with a budget of $200 million, I expected some more creativity with the visual storytelling. The only shots I genuinely enjoyed were at the beginning of the movie when the Osage were dancing in the oil, and at the end of the film when we get a zoomed out drone shot of an Osage gathering. On a positive note, something I did enjoy was the Native American music. It was blended with modern music and it was entertaining. Unfortunately, I don't think there was any soundtrack that quite captured me. I feel a little uncultured and out of place, so I had to check YouTube University to see if there was anything a little more fitting. So I've linked 3 videos up above that have music I think would have worked wonderfully in this movie. One of these songs, Stadium Powwow by the Hallucination, was even featured in the official trailer. It just wasn't in the freaking movie, and I don't know why, because it is a freaking banger. To end things on a much happier note, I did enjoy the production design and I had 0 complaints. The sets felt realistic to the time period, and it was awesome seeing the horse-drawn carriages and early cars. It felt very Midwest, Red Dead Redemption, so I loved it. Overall, I really enjoyed Killers of the Flower Moon, but it didn't quite hit the way I thought it would. The plot was excellent, and I enjoyed the historical and true story it portrayed with the manipulation and murder of the Osage people for their wealth. The acting was also excellent, with Lily Gladstone carrying this movie. Some other notable standouts to me were Brendan Fraser, Cara Jade Myers, Tatanka Means, Ty Mitchell, and Louis Cancelme. They surprisingly helped me emotionally invest in this movie, much more than Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro. While I enjoyed the plot and the acting, I felt the direction and pace were a bit lackluster. I feel like this movie would have been much more engaging with a different storytelling style. Everything was laid out in front of you, making it almost feel like a documentary, eliminating the suspense and mystery of the movie. A much more interesting story could have been told from the eyes of a Native American like Molly Burkhart or FBI agent John Wren as they try to uncover the mystery of the murders. With a budget of $200 million, I expected much more from the cinematography, score, and soundtrack. They were good, but unfortunately felt plain and simple. They didn't enthrall me the way Oppenheimer did. On a positive note, the production design was great, and it reminded me of one of my favorite games, Red Dead Redemption. Even if you're not a fan of long and slow movies, I would still recommend you watch this one. It's good for the history, it's good for the culture, and if there's one thing I learned, you can't trust a white man. Just kidding. As a side note, I did eavesdrop on the Native American woman sitting next to me on opening night, and I can happily say they really enjoyed it. So, despite my complaints about this movie, I feel confident in recommending you watch it. Thank you for listening to my review of Killers of the Flower Moon. If you enjoyed the content and want to support the channel, then please leave a like and hit subscribe. As always, I would love to read what you have to say, so leave a comment and let me know what you think. Also, if you want to see me review something, don't forget to let me know and I will get to it slowly but surely. Lastly, if you want to see some more from me, then you can check out my vlogs linked up above or my podcast, Good Friends. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Diego and I will see you next time.